We are live. Welcome in everyone to episode number 13. And as you can tell, the first thing that I'm going to address is that this is a solo podcast. I do not have a guest on this week, but that was very deliberate and it was supposed to be that way. So it's just me today, but it won't always be like that. And it won't always be with the guest. So it is whatever it is. And to warm myself up this week, I kind of wanted to talk about a little situation that I've been going through. So on the PS5, they have the faceplates. And I've been rocking the white faceplates since launch, or since the PlayStation 5 has been out. And they have finally released some faceplates that I want, aka the Spider-Man 2 faceplates. The Spider-Man 2 faceplates are sick, but I really wanted them. And when they first released, maybe like a few weeks ago or maybe a month ago at this point, I didn't have a chance to get them. But Best Buy, they were going to drop them on the 18th. So, you know, I'm ready for it, right? I wake up early on the 18th. So for the 18th, that was yesterday for me. Today's the 19th, which is a Thursday. Yesterday, I woke up super early. I went to bestbuy.com. I made sure I had all of my information in there. You know, my contact information, credit card, all that bullshit. You know, just make sure that I have everything ready to go. So when it drops, I can just put that shit in my cart and I could just buy it. You know, how it should be. But what happens is at 8 a.m. for me, 8 a.m. Pacific time, it dropped. And all of a sudden, I can't even open it on the app anymore. And then you click on the My Best Buy drop or whatever on the app and it just doesn't work. And it's just like so frustrating because, you know, I'm awake early for the situation, not planned for it and all that. It's just so annoying, you know. I have the money for it. And I'm trying to give these motherfuckers my money, but they're not making it easy for me. So all that complaining being said, I'm not complaining because, you know, just for the sake of it. But I am trying to say, like, Best Buy, sort it out. That shit is trash. Like, figure it out. Get it together. Like, I'm trying to give you my money. I'm trying to get these damn plates. But, you know, who cares at this point? I don't even care anymore. They drop. They're hella expensive if you if you look at them on eBay. I think the plates themselves, like, they go for like $200, and they originally go for $64. So it's people are getting a crazy markup for it, and you know it's a bunch of bullshit. You know, it's they want you to buy the console. You know, they don't want you to just buy the plates. Or in my opinion, Sony doesn't want you to buy the plates. That's why they made so little of them. That's why they made them so hard to get. So Best Buy, figure it out. Fuck them. That shit was some bullshit. But now, this episode is going to be late, as you guys can tell. And as you guys can know, oh shit, what just happened? Did they fumble? Oh yeah, so I'm... I'm watching the Saints versus Jags game on Thursday Night Football. It's 17-9, so it's actually kind of a close game, third quarter. So I am watching it on the side here, you know, just to keep me going in this episode. But that was completely besides the point. But this episode is going to be late. And the reason why it's late is because I really wanted to put in time in the game that I'm going to talk about today. And I'm not just going to be talking about games in general. I'm actually going to be focusing in, and we're going to be talking about a specific game. And not only talking, But in my quest of literally doing everything, a month ago I reviewed an album. Today, I'll be tackling my first ever video game review. So, yeah, that's why this album is late. I just wanted to put the hours in. So let's get on with this. Segment 1, Forza Motorsport review / impressions. So instantly, the game put its hooks in me. I've been itching to play more of Gran Turismo 7, but I didn't want to have sim racing fatigue. If I played a lot of GT7, then I might have not been so eager to play Forza. But for the past 2 years, I've dove into racing games, and I've played more and more racing games. And it's honestly just boils down to it being like me driving more in real life. So because I'm driving more, I'm familiarizing myself with cars and stuff. And yeah, it's honestly just really fun driving fast. It's an exhilarating experiences, but in real life, there's a lot of cons to doing it. If I drive fast in real life, a litany of bad things can happen. I could crash my car, not only damaging thousands of dollars worth of a vehicle, but possibly damaging myself, wasting gas, burning out the tires. There's so much that can go wrong. But in a video game, you don't really got to worry about any of that. So I appreciate that. I went through the trials and errors of simulation racing with Gran Turismo 7, being my first real racing sim or sim light experience. I've heard it, or I've read online, people have called it more of a sim light because it's not a full simulation game. But I would say they're pretty on point with how real cars feel. I think that's what they're trying to go for. But yeah, I went through the trials and errors of simulation racing with GT7. It honestly takes quite a bit to master it. I remember jumping into GT7 last year. I wasn't really having that much fun with it to start off because I was very frustrated with how I was driving. I wasn't good, just to keep it plain and simple. But it takes a bit to master it. But, the main tip that I could give you guys listening is, just to be as straight as possible while braking and then turn into the corners. And then while turning, control your throttle with the triggers. Once I mastered that aspect, I started to get better. Because when you're driving in real life, you do slow down and then you turn. You don't just fucking speed and then turn while you're in the you don't just speed and then turn. That's a drift. You don't just drift in real life. You want to make sure you execute the turn to perfection. But yeah, that's the main tip I can give you guys going into both Gran Turismo and Forza Motorsport. And like I said, the concept applies to both games because both the PS5 and the Xbox Series controllers have analog triggers. So how hard you press the triggers actually matters. It's there is 0 to 100. And if you press it halfway, you are going 50%. So you really do got to think about it that way. And I'm talking about Gran Turismo 7 a lot, but it's because everything that I've learned from Gran Turismo 7 has translated over to Forza Motorsport. So jumping into Forza Motorsport, I really didn't have to adjust that much. The game feels very tight and responsive. And it plays, and in motion, it looks very good, but more about fidelity and performance later. So in the first segment, we're going to be talking about gameplay. A few episodes ago of Subeg's Garden, I talked about gameplay concepts and ideas or jargon, and I want to throw a new one out there called gameplay loop. I might have talked about this, I might have not, but the gameplay, hold on. In the single player experience, the gameplay loop is choosing a specific car to use in a series of about 5 races, and in between each race, spending the experience you earn to tune and upgrade the car you were using. In between each race, you have an optional choice, optional in quotes, to do 3 practice laps before the race. And then they want you to do this so you can get familiar with each track. And I say optional, but it really is helpful to just do the 3 practice laps, and you do earn experience for your car for doing it. The game does let you skip it if you want to, but you won't earn the experience, you know. After completing the practice, you then get put in this pre-race lobby where you can customize the fuel load of your car, the type of tires that the car is going to race on, the difficulty of the AI, which it determines how fast they are going. For me, I chose 5 to start off, but now I've switched to the fastest one, which I believe is 8, because I looked at the achievement list and you get a Chivo for it, so I'm trying to get that achievement. And the race setting that the player wants to play on determines how you drive the car. So it's like, I think there's 3 levels. I'm playing on the second one, which is called Sport. I think in the last one you have to like manually shift the car. It has no like traction control and stuff like that. So I play on the Sport one, which is a plus 6% bonus to the credits that I earn. So I'm playing on 8 speed for the AI, and I'm playing on Sport. And that's the gameplay loop, Upgrade your car, practice on tracks, tailor the experience to fit your playstyle, and then race. The most important thing is that the racing feels great and the game looks great in motion. The main criticism that I'm hearing from hardcore racing people is that they don't like the car RPG mechanic. The whole, racing to level up cars to then spend the experience on upgrades for the car. People don't like that. They say it's a grind. But for me specifically, honestly, it feels rewarding starting out with the base car and improving it with every race, because you feel the car getting better and better, and you're getting better and better at driving it. So it kind of goes hand in hand. And for me, since I haven't played as many sim-like games or simulation type racing games, it is a rewarding experience because each car does feel different. Where was I? As I've said before, the racing is exhilarating, and that is the fun in the game. It's nice. It's a nice feeling overtaking someone you have been chasing. Plotting for that overtake for that whole lap that you were on. Like, let's just say you're in 4th place and you've been right behind 3rd for like maybe more than half of the map or more than half of the lap. Like, you got to plot every single corner. You got to do it to perfection. And then when you actually materialize what you've been trying to do, it feels really good. So plotting for that overtake feels great. It makes you feel like you're in fucking Initial D. And if you guys know what that anime is, it's crazy. So we're going to the next segment, which is we're going to be talking about graphics and fidelity. So I started playing on the Series X for the first 2 hours, and then I tried it out on the PC, only to quickly jump straight back to the Xbox version. The PC version did not run well for me at all. And, my PC isn't no slouch. It's not that bad of a PC. It's actually still pretty competent to this day. But for this specific game, I am sticking with the console. It feels like a more optimized experience. There are 3 graphic options on the Series X. There's performance ray tracing, or performance RT, and fidelity. I choose to play on performance RT. It runs at a smooth 60 FPS, and I believe it runs at a 1440p resolution upscaled, possibly. It does look a little bit not dull, but it's not as sharp as I wish it could be. But it looks really good, and in motion you don't even notice the problems with it. And specifically, the dynamic weather system goes crazy. And as I've stated above, there's the practice and then there's the race. But the coolest thing about this whole thing is that the weather is taken into account in both instances. So, for example, in the second series, in the Builders Cup, there's a race on a track called Maple Valley. The 3-lap practice was at night. And then when the actual race started, on the streets and the skies, they were covered in like this early morning mist. And as you go throughout the race, the sun comes out, mist dissipates, and you're more like, it's now transitioned into like the morning sun. And I think that's really neat. And this happens over multiple tracks. So this is just one example. Some tracks where it's like you practice in the early morning and it goes into the day, and then the race starts at night and it's like raining. Like there's multiple examples of this, and I think that's neat. But one thing I've noticed is that no matter how hard it's raining on track, the water doesn't puddle up. So there's no pools of water on the track. I don't know if that's like, if they just forgot to add that, or maybe it's kind of been difficult for them to add that, but that is a big omission in my eyes. But when it rains, the track does feel slippery, so that's not a problem. But I just wish puddles would form like in Gran Turismo, because when the puddles formed, that's when the car started to go crazy and it was super unpredictable, and that's the fun in it, That's the realism. So sound, quickly I'll go over this one. And the cars sound great. The cars have a very punchy and deep like sound to them. The bass is strong in the cars. The sound of the tires screeching on the drifts sounds great. They have a British narrator. I think they've always had a British narrator, but he gives the game a very nice touch. But I don't really, I listen to music sometimes when I'm racing, or I'll listen to podcasts and stuff, but I just try to keep focused. We'll quickly talk about the multiplayer. And so I've raced around 50 laps in multiplayer, and the main thing that I take away from it is that it's actually kind of frustrating. Players will collide into you or rear end your ass, and then they'll just drive off into like second or third place, and they won't get penalized. But then me trying to catch up to them for doing that, and I like collide to the side of the wall, I might bump somebody, I'll get a penalty for it. It gets frustrating really quickly. So I'm personally sticking with the single player experience. But if someone wants to play with me, then I'll jump into the online. I have no problem with playing it. But single player is more fun for me. And we can transition into the final thoughts that I have of this game. So the pros, I got the racing, of course, is fun. It has a large collection of cars. Another thing is you can actually try any car without buying it, without actually paying credits for it. So that's a cool thing. That's a neat touch. You don't have to buy every car that needs to be raced. It has a good collection of cars. It has an immersive weather system, and it runs/looks good on the Series X. Cons I have, it's lacking content. So coming from Gran Turismo 7, that game has a lot of content. It has the I forgot what it's called, the little book collecting thing, but I completed that. It had the license test. It has the multiplayer. It has so much content to that game. But the main thing that it's missing, because I don't care about all the extra stuff, but the racing stuff, like the drift trials, I don't think this game has any drift trials, and there's no rally races. And those are some of the most fun races in Gran Turismo 7. So, another con, multiplayer is a frustrating experience. The PC port is bad, in my findings, in my testings. You know, it could be different for you guys, but for me, no go. And last one, I threw this one in here because it is a grind, and I don't like grinding in games. The car leveling up system, that could be a grind for some people. And the last thing I wanted to say is, I have been bringing up Gran Turismo 7 a lot, but it's because I feel like these two games are like very comparable. Let me adjust the focus. But I have been talking about Gran Turismo 7, but because they're very comparable. Like I said, all the skills that I learned from the game have translated over. So, I feel like Forza should look at that game for some inspiration as to what they should add and how they can get better as a game. But, this overall, it's a very solid effort. I believe that the game will get better with time. The foundation is there, and the racing, which of course is the most important aspect, it's great. If what I'm saying sounds like a good time, then I feel like you guys should give it a chance. I'm not going to put a review score on games because I feel like scores in general dilute the opinion. So I'm not going to give you a score, but I will say, it's pretty solid. And for me, I'm going to keep it installed on my Xbox. I'm not going to delete this game because I feel like this game is just going to get better and better. And yeah, that was my Forza Motorsport review. I put around 16, 17 hours into the game, so not as much as I wish I could have, but I did get a taste of, I believe, every map. Not every track layout, but I'm pretty sure I've driven on every map. And, I have put a few hours into the multiplayer, so overall pretty good, pretty fun. I'm enjoying it. This is going to be the intermission to my next segment, but I do still want to talk a little bit more about games. Some new games are coming out, and as of this recording, in about like 45 minutes, I'm going to be headed to my local GameStop to be grabbing Spider-Man 2 and Mario Bros. Wonder. So that's what I'm doing. So this is kind of going a little on pace here. But I do want to talk a little bit about Halo Infinite because I feel like that game is in a pretty good state right now, especially in the content category. If you go into the multiplayer, there's a lot of different tabs for different playlists that you want to play in. So I feel like there's a playlist for everyone at this point. They got the snipers. Maybe they're missing the shoddy sniper playlist, but I could be wrong here. Halo Infinite, it's good. It's always been good. The gameplay, it's the same with Forza. I feel like I even heard Cog say the same thing. Like the foundation is there because the game plays good. So that's how you know that there's like love poured to the game. But I always enjoyed Halo Infinite when I played it. That's why I've never deleted it. This is one of the games that I've always had installed on my Xbox or my PC. Because overall it is very fun to just hop in and, punch people. And Halo is one of the arena shooters that are still trying to keep it alive. The love for Call of Duty is dwindling. So, and I like Call of Duty too, and I still do hop into Call of Duty now and then. But I feel like I just have more nostalgia hopping into Halo. It's more for me, It's more of a fantasy instead of reality in Call of Duty's case. It's a lot of fun though. It's a lot of fun. I appreciate it. And the idea of games needing to last forever. Like Halo Infinite is kind of, making it seem like it has to be a game that lasts forever. Oh, no. Dude, this dude, not Dak Prescott, Derek Carr. This dude, Derek Carr, sucks in the end zone, man. He's getting whooped by the Jaguars. But this idea of games needing to last forever. If you have a good game, then the mechanics of the game, it'll take you further than like content will, or skins will, But that's all Fortnite. That's all Fortnite, and that's what sucks. Because from what I'm hearing is Last of Us Factions, which was supposed to probably even be out by now, is on ice or is getting like delayed because it's not as sticky, quote unquote. But why does every game need to last forever? People still play Last of Us Factions on the PS4 because the game plays good. So why can't they just do the same shit for part 2 and just take those mechanics, make 10 maps, do some multiplayer game modes, capture the flag, team deathmatch, hostage, just lean in on that. That's all I want. That's all I want, honestly, because Last of Us 2 plays amazingly. But yeah, and then with Halo and Call of Duty now, they have skill-based matchmaking, and that low-key like fucks with the experience, because I feel like for me, the first game I usually do the best in, and then from there I do worse and worse. It gets worse and worse from there because I start to get matched with better and better players, and it's annoying because sometimes I just want to come up in there and just whoop some ass. But yeah, so keeping on with Xbox, I guess. So let's talk a little bit about Phil Spencer, Mr. P3. If you guys don't know, he's like the head of Xbox, but there's this case that's been going on, the FTC versus Microsoft case. It's done now because they have bought Activision, but throughout this case, a lot of emails have been leaked about like the things that both companies have been saying. And there's this email that has been leaked of Phil Spencer, pretty much saying like buying Nintendo would be a career defining move for him. It's just his mindset is insane, and like I can't believe he thinks that way, because like if I were in his shoes, a career defining move for me would be one of the studios that we've had, or acquire, winning Game of the Year, being a part of that conversation, winning Game of the Year at the Keeleys. I feel like that's a career-defining move, not if you purchase Nintendo. Because if you purchase Nintendo, at the end of the day, they're still going to be Nintendo. But I just think his mindset is just crazy. But Microsoft, fucking PlayStation, Nintendo, I guess I'm a shill for all of them, because I'm going to be buying Mario Wonder and Spider-Man 2, and I'm actually legitimately excited for both. And that transitions us into segment 2, moving along with the Microsoft and Clippers connection. Segment 2 is going to be Clippers 2023 season overview. This is kind of going to be my chance to really just talk about them as much as I want, for this upcoming season, because the season's about to start. We're right on the cusp of it. No, the first thing I want to say is we got some solid young guys. The guys that we got have potential. Bones Highland, T-Man, even though he's kind of like a vet now, he's not really a young guy no more. But T-Man, I already said Bones, Kobe Brown. I hope Kobe Brown, he gets some playing time, because he has potential. But, we got some veteran presence. We still got Marcus Morris. We got Russell. Paul, of course. Kawhi. I feel like we got Plumlee. Zubac. Just looking at their roster, I just feel like we have everything we need. We can't look This literally reminds me of how I feel about Microsoft, you know? Like looking at all their developers, like it's like we just need to just do it. We can't talk it no more. We just got to do it. And that's the same thing I feel about the Clippers. It's like you guys shouldn't look elsewhere as the answer. The answer is internal. Well, if that's a touchdown, that's nasty. Ooh. Okay, Kamara. That wasn't a touchdown? That's so weird. Nice. Okay, there you go. Anyway, so I'm getting so off track here. I gotta get back onto the fucking point here. Yeah, we have everything we need. You know, we don't need Harden. Because look, Harden isn't showing up to the Sixers practices. At least that's what's being said. And he's a star. Marcus Morris, he hasn't played not 1 minute in preseason, but he's still there in practice. You know, that's showing commitment to the game. You know, that's showing that he actually cares. And I feel like we should keep someone that actually cares about the game. And at the end of the day, you know, Marcus Morris, he's not the worst player to have because he's a veteran. He's solid. He has a good mid-range. He has a good three-point shot. You know, it is slowing down, but he's committed to the game still. He still shows up. He still wants to be better. And he still shows up for his teammates, you know. We have everything we need. We just got to wake up and be great. We just got to go out there and do it. And, you know, going forward, I'm not going to be talking about the Clippers that much. I'm going to try to focus on other teams. I'm going to be trying to watch the Clippers with silent eyes. Or silent ears. What the fuck? Silent eyes. I'll try to watch them with silent ears. You know, just, you know, try to stay as smooth as we can because that's how we get there at the end, you know. Just make it through the ups and the downs. And that transitions us into the third and the last segment of the show. And I hope that you guys have been hanging on out there still. And, you know, I want to talk about social media being both a gift and a curse. You know, we see more news because of social media, you know. We're more aware of what's going on in the world because of social media. So in that way, it's a gift. But the curse is that, you know, that's our burden now to bear. And the reason why I bring this up is because, like, you know, there's some, like, fucked up ass shit that's going on in the world right now. And, you know, I don't claim to know everything that's going on. But, you know, the one thing I'll say is, you know, the more we are divided, the worse our problems will be as a society. So, you know, we have to be better than our past. And, you know, like, fuck where we are from. At the end of the day, that's just geography. The only thing that really separates people is land. Well, we're all the same on the inside, you know? That's why Duke Deuce and, or not Duke Deuce, Duke so Duke Dennis and Kai Cenat, you know, they be singing on their streams and shit, you know. They're just trying to have fun and enjoy life, you know, and that's what I'm trying to do. And, you know, people they need our love, they need our support out there, and, you know, that's what we can truly give at the end of the day. And yeah, that wraps it up for episode number 13 of Subeg's Garden. Talked about Forza, talked about my issues with Spider-Man 2, trying to cop the PS5 plates, talked about social media, talked about the Clippers, and yeah, I think that was a great episode. And if you guys got to the end of this episode, thank you. I really appreciate you. You know, it's really a rewarding experience doing this, and it has been a very rewarding experience. You know, trying to reach out to people that, you know, I normally don't talk to. And I hope to continue to grow. And I hope you guys tune in again next week. Thank you guys all for listening. If you guys want to check me out on Patreon, I'm on there too. Same handle as my YouTube channel. It's just patreon.com/Subagels. You know, if you want to support me. If not, y'all can check me out on YouTube. Subs, comments, likes. I would appreciate all of that. And if you want to reach out to me, social media, it's just first and last name, Subeg Dolywall. And shout out to my one soul patron, Selena. And I hope you guys have a very good day. Thank you.